Wednesday, November 29, 1983. The CEO of Heineken walks through the entrance of his Amsterdam office. It's almost 7 p.m., and outside, his driver, ABD Doer, is waiting by the car. Two women step out ahead of him, and Heineken is the last to leave. He shuts the door and looks around for his armored Cadillac. But it's not there. Doer is parked further away than usual. As Heineken steps onto the sidewalk, suddenly, he is grabbed from behind by the back of his suit jacket. One woman screams, pulling on his sleeve, while two men approach. One sprays tear gas into the woman's face, the other waves a handgun. Heineken drops to the ground as the men try to drag him away. He struggles and yells for his driver, ABD, who is rushing to help. But before ABD can reach him, a fourth man intercepts him and they begin to struggle. Heineken is forced into the back of an orange van, and ABD is thrown in after him. Both lie on the cold, hard floor, hands and feet shackled, heads covered with taped motorcycle helmets. Darkness swallows them. 90 minutes later, a package arrives at a small police station in The Hague. Inside is a letter demanding millions for the safe return of Freddie Heineken and his chauffeur. One of the most extensively planned kidnappings in European history has begun. The kidnappers had been planning this for more than 2 years, demanding the largest ransom ever seen in Europe. It's New Year's Day, 1981, 2 years before the kidnapping. A man drives late at night to meet his best friends at their hideout. It's almost midnight. He pulls up outside an apartment on the second floor of 99F Howlat. Below is a flower shop called Paradise, and so they call their hideout just that. He spots two familiar cars, a red Saab Turbo and a bronze Mercedes. Two friends are already there. He enters the building and climbs the stairs, walking through an open door. The four men lounge on leather armchairs, champagne on ice, the New Year's countdown quietly playing on the TV. As the clock strikes midnight, he clears his throat and begins. Over the last few years, the four of us have done some good business and earned decent money. We drive smart cars, carry thick wallets, go on nice vacations, and can always buy rounds at the bar. On the surface, nothing is wrong. But I feel we've been picking up scraps. Banks are difficult, the taxman is annoying, the market is collapsing, interest rates are high. Even construction is bankrupt. In short, I ask myself, what are we doing? Our cars will be gone, our horses off the course, our boats out of the water, everything gone. Is that what we want? Can we allow that? I'll tell you straight, I'd rather die. The time has come to take an important decision. All or nothing. To hatch a plan that will solve all our problems at once, permanently. I mean permanently. This man is Cor van Hout, known as Flipper for his childhood obsession with pinball. He's a horse gambler, real estate owner, and the mastermind behind the operation. He's 26 years old. Sitting on the couch is his right-hand man, Vidden Hoel, muscular and nicknamed the Nose for no apparent reason, 25 years old. Next to him is Fmeer, one of Cor's oldest friends, nicknamed the Professor, because nothing gets past him. He's 30. The fourth member, Jen Buer, although missing that night, is a crucial part of the gang. Nicknamed the Cat for his tilted head while listening, he is the oldest at 31 and extremely skilled with tools. Finally, Cor's younger half-brother Martin, called Brakes, is the youngest and most clueless but skilled at stealing cars. The orange Renault van drives off with Jen Buer behind the wheel. Frans Meyer and Cor van Hout are in the back, standing over the victims. Frans, the Nose, looks in the rearview mirror and notices an off-white Mercedes taxi following them, but they remain unfazed. Their escape route was meticulously planned. They would pass Fred's planned location, then the Saudi, eventually turning right onto the Vas Braaide, bringing them onto the A10 highway, where they'd take the exit to their holding location. But to reach Fred's plan, they had to cross the Vading S intersection, a major risk. If they were forced to stop here, they'd be sitting ducks. To avoid that, Brakes had learned to hack traffic light boxes. He would watch for the orange van and quickly change any red light to a flashing orange, giving them right of way. It was a great plan, but this night was different. On the way to kidnap Heineken, they spotted 15 uniformed police officers conducting routine traffic stops at the intersection. They couldn't risk Martin fiddling with the traffic light and getting caught, so they told him to go home early. It was the riskiest part of the drive, and unknown to them, the taxi driver behind had already alerted his superiors, who forwarded the info immediately to the police. It was the worst possible timing. But when they arrived at the intersection, the police were gone. Wilm tells Bull to run the red light. "Whoa, whoa, not so fast," a voice interrupts. "All I want to do is talk to you about Udo." "Sound good?" "Great." That part, however, was removed from this version. They crossed the intersection, turned onto Tool Plan, and the next phase began. Underneath the Toronto Bridge lies a bike tunnel. Earlier, they had removed a bollard, allowing them to drive through. The plan was to block the tunnel with the van, but the taxi was still behind them, so they didn't stop in the middle. They drove forward quickly. The men exit the vehicle, in a rush. Soar drops a duffel bag filled with Uzi submachine guns and ammunition, smashing a pair of glasses on the way out. Eichler walks toward the taxi driver, gun in hand. The driver quickly backs off and drives away. Heineken is transferred into a white Citroën CX. ABD Doer is put in the back of a second car, a Renault 20. The victims hop in. They drive to the A10 beltway, passing the DAI, and take the turnoff to Haven's Vest toward an industrial terrain. The kidnappers pull into the open doors of a steel Romney shed and close them behind. The entire abduction took no more than 35 minutes. The captives' clothes are burned, except their IDs and Heineken's watch. The kidnappers then head back to their favorite bars in Amsterdam to build an alibi. 90 minutes after the kidnapping, at a small police station in The Hague, an anonymous package is dropped off. Inside is a Dutch letter written on German paper, along with ABD Doer's passport and ID, and Heineken's watch. They demand a ransom. All publicity must stop, and the search is to be prohibited. They request thousands of banknotes in various currencies and denominations to make tracing difficult. The banknotes must be circulated several times and randomly numbered, secured in packs of 100 with elastic bands, placed in 5 Dutch mail bags. The letter ends with further instructions for the handoff. Once the police comply, they must signal the kidnappers by placing a message in the newspaper: "The meadow is green for the hare." The police are called the hare, the kidnappers the eagle. A 72-hour countdown begins. While the police scramble to prepare, the kidnappers have been ready for years. The police flail, needing more time, and take a bold risk, one that could cost the victims their lives. Freddie Heineken wakes as the door to his padded cell opens. He lies on a bare mattress under a thin blanket, wearing cotton pajamas. In the corner is a chemical toilet without chemicals, a safety precaution. Music endlessly loops from a tape deck, masking outside noise. The cell is in the back of a 38 by 9 meter Romney shed on an industrial estate outside Amsterdam, owned by the kidnappers. Normally used as a workshop filled with tools, it now houses a camper van used as their base. Heineken and his chauffeur are nowhere to be seen in plain sight. Behind a hidden double door on the back wall, leading to a hallway, are 2 soundproof concrete cells built from German construction materials. The floors and ceilings are steel-reinforced slabs, the walls made of heavy concrete blocks with a 60 cm sawdust air gap and extra insulation. Escape is virtually impossible. The kidnapping consists of 3 phases: the abduction, the negotiations, and the ransom collection. The 2-year operation was funded by the kidnappers with a budget of roughly 100,000 guilders. They spent hours studying famous kidnappings worldwide, playing out every scenario, every problem they might face. Their victim had to be rich and able to pay fast. The royal family and politicians were considered but discarded for risk and unwanted political heat. The CEO of Philips, a wealthy prospect too far from home turf, was rejected. Albert Heine, CEO of the largest supermarket chain, was too awkward a target for negotiations. The Dutch car company CEO was out. Finally, Freddie Heineken, wealthy and local, with a personal motive, the hatred his father harbored after being fired from the company, was the perfect target. At the scene of the abduction, police find broken glasses and a bag of Uzi guns. They track a stolen van to a dealership and learn about a stolen Opel Kadett. The police are on the hunt, believing they're chasing an armed German gang. This misdirection was the mastermind's plan. Cor Van Hout left evidence to waste investigators' time, knowing the police would follow false trails. Everything, from the paper used to typewriters, disguises, and even evidence Heineken might have tried to take, led the police away from the truth. The first phase, the abduction, was complete. Next came negotiations. The kidnappers used recorded tapes of ABD reading demands, played at random phone booths, preventing direct negotiation and forcing the police to respond through newspaper ads. A one-way communication channel, police could only accept or reject, never barter. But money posed a problem. The ransom was enormous, and moving the cash was difficult. They calculated 200 banknotes weighed about as much as an adult man. 5 mailbags full of cash weighed nearly half a ton. How to transport it without detection? One plan was dropping ransom in a small boat pulled across water. Another, inspired by a vacuum delivery system in a department store, would suck money through plastic tubing underground. A third was to use a houseboat and secret tunnels. None were perfect. Cor Van Hout needed a plan that would make the police squirm. On Tuesday, November 15, 1983, 6 days after the kidnapping, the police hear the voice of ABD Doer. Instructions for the hare from the Eagle: the hare will depart in a white VW transporter van in 10 minutes, drive to the Hilton Hotel at Schiphol Airport, and find further instructions buried at the first lamp post. If followed, the deal is off. The men sit in a dark apartment watching the road, waiting for the police van. They instructed police to mark the van with 2 large red crosses to spot it easily, but hours pass with no van. The kidnappers make it clear, if the police fail to show, the lives of Heineken and Doer are at risk. In desperation, the police gamble with the captives' lives. Cor Van Hout is furious. Parts of their ransom plan are exposed, but if police think they can outsmart the kidnappers, they deserve the consequences. The kidnappers tell the police they've irreparably damaged one of Heineken's fingers. For 10 days, the police hear nothing. Then, on November 27, the Eagle instructs the hare to collect a package at Utrecht Central Station luggage locker 2150, and bring it to Dine North. The police follow orders and await the next call. Cor Van Hout has changed things. The kidnappers are now the owl, and the police the mouse. The owl gives precise instructions to the mouse, who must obey instantly. The mouse drives to the Euro Motel near Amsterdam, finds notes buried under lamp posts, and follows a scavenger hunt across provinces, gas stations, restaurants, and neighborhoods. The ransom handoff becomes a cat-and-mouse chase across highways and quiet forest clearings. Men disguised in army uniforms watch from fields, ready to signal if the police approach. The ransom money is finally buried in plastic drums, hidden under layers of dirt, covered by leaves and branches. The kidnappers shed disguises, slip into racing outfits, and escape on bicycles. After 2 years of planning and 2 weeks holding Heineken and Doer, the gang executed the most elaborate kidnapping in European history. Adjusted for inflation, they collected a staggering 74.6 million guilders. But they missed one crucial detail. On November 16, the Heineken Corporation received an anonymous letter naming 3 suspects and their business dealings. This tip led to the eventual capture of all involved. The tip came 1 day after the first ransom drop should have taken place. The police's gamble paid off. 2 days after hiding the cash, Cor Van Hout notices he's being followed by undercover police. The men retrieve 15 million guilders of the ransom, splitting it between the 5. They part ways, promising to meet again on New Year's Day 1983 to recover the rest. Yen Board and Martin Ames are arrested first, caught with their share of the cash. Yen receives 12 years, Martin 8. On December 5, 1983, hikers discover ransom money packs. Khmer turns himself in later that month, reportedly burning 3 million guilders in a manic frenzy, half the amount he supposedly carried. He is later placed under psychological evaluation. He escapes from the center, fleeing to Paraguay where he starts a family and runs a restaurant. In 1995, a Dutch crime journalist tracks him down. In 2002, he's extradited back to the Netherlands, released in 2005. Widenhoel and Cor van Hout evade capture until February 29, 1984. Fleeing to Paris, they are eventually traced to a friend's apartment through phone calls. Cor van Hout is assassinated in Vienna on January 24, 2003. His former best friend, Widenhoel, is convicted in 2019 for the murder. This is the story of the kidnapping that shook Europe, a crime born from desperation, executed with cold precision, and echoing through history. If you want to hear more gripping true crime stories, make sure to support Rowan Days, subscribe now and never miss an episode.